But the senator, while indoctrinated, could not explain his toxicity.
You should not listen to men's rights advocates if you want to know what they have to say.
Number ZZ9 plural Z alpha. Number ZZ9.
All the second stage tanks now pressurized. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Within the greater culture of men's issues and interest discussions known as the manosphere, exist a variety of subcultures that feminists and many non-feminist women, if they feel so entitled, love to hate, and even more to berate. HBR Talk with Hannah Wallen. Many times, unethical media outlets have tried to slander men's rights activists who they hate for wanting gender-neutral treatment under law and policy, using a particularly sneaky and convoluted tactic. They'd smear another male subculture that is an easier target, then try to extend the smear to the men's rights movement by association. There are three they especially love to use for this purpose. Involuntarily celibate men are hated, apparently, for the crime of being unable to attract girlfriends. Voluntarily unattached men, also known as men going their own way, are hated because they refuse to order their lives around women. Pickup artists are hated because they do, and sometimes it gets them laid, or they make money selling other guys dating strategy advice. Of course, lumping the various subcultures together is stupid and dishonest. Not a single one is a club you can join or get officially kicked out of, nor are any of them necessarily controlled by central organizations. We all have very different outlooks on the overall topic of men's issues, and even where there is common ground in agreement on some of the disadvantages men face, there's vehement disagreement on how to respond to that disadvantage. While the subcultures overlap in population, our ethos and outlooks differ wildly and in some ways are completely incompatible. Sometimes this has even led to personality clashes among individuals from different subcultures. Of course, feminists would seek to exploit that. Over the last decade, we've seen that smear, stretch, and smudge tactic attempted many times against the men's rights movement. A few years ago, such an attempt coincided with a fit of apoplectic rage among feminists after a prominent, or notorious, depending on who you ask, pickup artist Roosh V wrote a satirical article using the style of a modest proposal to point out that ideology isn't an effective shield against crime, particularly rape. About half the men's rights movement at the time learned what pickup artists were because of the resulting feminist tantrum. Several writers tried to falsely associate their own straw literalization of the post to the men's rights movement to smear us. Talk about mental gymnastics. They failed at creating the link because the two subcultures have few common interests. They failed at pitting us against each other as well. We all spent more time complaining about how manipulative the feminist media was trying to be than arguing with each other over the article and its implications. Meanwhile, we all got to see an early example of what's now known as cancel culture. The feminist rage machine went ballistic on Roosh, beginning with a flurry of similarly worded hit pieces, public stalking and harassment, social media and payment processor deplatforming, and finally, retailers caving to petitions, asking them to stop selling his books. Several nations were even petitioned to ban him from entry, though I found no evidence of any actually doing it, as was done with another PUA coach, Julian Blanc. Vice magazine published an article celebrating the social execution of Roosh V in 2018. He appears to have resurfaced in 2019 as a now religious man with a whole new outlook on relationships and sex, with far less controversy from feminists over his new gig. Or at least, now that he's a traditionalist man, they're not writing articles complaining about him anymore. But of course, that's not the only freakout feminists have had over the pickup artist phenomenon. You don't have to write a satirical article about how female agency can improve female safety to get under the skin of women's advocates. You just have to have a reputation for helping men find women who will take an interest in them. In an article published by The Guardian, 50 Years of Pickup Artists, Why is the Toxic Skill So in Demand?, Siren Kale wrote that teaching men how to approach women they don't know is a $100 million industry, and described a scene in a bar where one might expect to be approached by strangers regardless of one's sex, as if the men there were engaging in, quote, street harassment. The article is peppered with nasty comparisons, likening the approaches of men she observed to the charge of a doomed cavalry, the PUA coach she was interviewing to a wolf, and the concept of game to a virus. She referred to the culture of pickup artistry as a murky, underhand world, and the methods taught by PUA coaches as nefarious, manipulative, and even coercive. Later in the article, she seriously implied that pickup artistry caused men's rights activism, involuntary celibacy, and oh yeah, Jordan Peterson, who is apparently now the devil himself. She portrayed women as victims of being spoken to in public by men who willingly let any conversation they had started end if the woman was uninterested. She mocked the male students of the PUA coach she was interviewing for having an idea as to what their ideal woman might be like. Guys, according to this writer, you don't have to be crude or threatening to be considered a pest. Just greeting women in public places and making small talk is enough. To bolster this hyperbole, she quoted feminist professor Bianca Feilbaum of the University of Melbourne, who she describes as an expert in gendered street harassment.
This behavior has a profoundly negative effect on women. It's often excused as flirting or seen as good-natured. And on the individual level, I can understand why you might think that someone came and spoke to you in the street. What's the big deal? But for many women, these aren't one-off experiences, but are repeated constantly, often from childhood. They add up,
she sighs.
I don't think men live with this experience of being intruded upon and having people feel entitled to your time.
Yeah, she really said that. She appears to have been serious. After the quote, she compared just being approached and greeted in the street to an experience she once had with a man whose approach was rudely, crudely aggressive and who expressed rage upon being rejected, as if there were no difference between that and polite small talk. That article could be summarized by the statement that men should never, under any circumstances, ever speak to a woman before the woman invites them to do so. The message is obvious. Men who ascribe to women a sense of personal agency are bad, and anyone interested in garnering the attention of the opposite sex, particularly if that interest is guided by any kind of standards as to whose attention you're interested in, is a predator. Right? With that in mind, this week, HBR Talk will be looking at another Guardian article, Sales Funnels and High-Value Men, The Rise of Strategic Dating by Katie Cunningham. This article is not about the apparently horrifying and feminist disapproved world of dating strategies men teach to other men, but about dating strategies women teach to other women, which are obviously wholesome, totally unimpeachable, and completely unlike pickup artistry. There's nothing wrong with a woman looking for her ideal man, right? So, we should find nothing but wise, honorable advice in the article and the forum the writer references, don't you think? You can tune in to the live stream to find out, or find other viewing and listening options for that time or later on honeybadgerbrigade.com. And hello, and welcome to HBR Talk 192, What the Heck is Female Dating Strategy? I'm your host, Hannah Wallen, here with Nonsense Annihilator Lauren B. And our Badger-in-Chief, Allison Tiemann, who just got here. we were scrambling at the beginning, like through the whole opener. So here we are, standing on the edge of an odd little rabbit hole. Oh, we kind of wonder what's in there. But first we gotta do what we gotta do. Honey Badger Radio has a ton of thought-provoking discussions, and those thoughts are getting more provoked every day. And if they're listening, they're going to be especially provoked tonight, as we discuss important topics. We stream on multiple platforms. The only way the thought police can affect us is to hide our work. To find it all without political censorship and without having to wade through a lot of social justice ideologues baloney, you'll have to get that information from us. You want to hear from us more than you hear from them? Head on over to honeybadgerbrigade.com. Every show is featured on honeybadgerbrigade.com along with some great articles on a variety of topics, so head on over and check it out. We can't make YouTube give us fair treatment, but we can pick up their slack by bypassing the slackers altogether. And we can't stop corporate entities from engaging in political discrimination to prevent people like us from funding our efforts, but we can provide you an alternate way to support our work. That's why feedthebadger.com is the most stable way to help us out. Feed the Badger provides a way to fund our efforts without funding politically correct censorship. So remember, folks, information is power. We have it, they hate it. If you want it, you've got to go to honeybadgerbrigade.com and check out the latest feed from the Badgers, and feed the Badger to help make it possible for us to share the news and analysis you come to HBR to hear. And tonight you're going to hear about female dating strategy, which we're not necessarily here to condemn, though we may if it's deserved, and we definitely will poke fun a little. We're here to compare. Are women engaging in some strategies for dating men that have been called, or might be called, misogynistic or predatory when men employ them for dating women? We're going to start out by taking a look at an article, the article I mentioned in the opener, and as I read through it, my co-hosts are free and encouraged to jump in with their thoughts. Are you ready to dive in?
Oh, this should be good.
I know, this is going to be fun.
Real good.
So let me get the article up on the screen here. Put it in the window. Come on, window.
There's one thing that just came out of watching the intro was just, so men can't talk to women in public, essentially.
Yeah, essentially, men, they basically don't want men to approach women in public places. If men approach women in public places, they are being sex pests. If you stop a woman and ask her for directions, and it turns out you actually just asked her because you think she's cute, that's the same to the woman who wrote the article and the professor that she consulted, as if you walked up and grabbed her by the tits. Like, they just don't have a filter for that. Like, no ability to differentiate and say, hey, you know, sometimes people just want to talk.
Yeah.
It's actually extremely arrogant to assume that every man who talks to you wants to have sex with you, ladies.
Yeah,
It's quite narcissistic.
It's
and
disgusting.
Also, even if they have an initial attraction to you, that they will maintain that attraction after talking to you. Also arrogant and narcissistic.
Right. Which, with these women, I'm not sure that they would. I think that with these women, the result is going to probably be, never mind, abort, you know, because this kind of behavior, this kind of attitude is just toward men. How do they expect to find, and then you have the whole subreddit, which we might be able to get to the subreddit. The article is fairly nice to them, or at least they're trying to be. There's some gems in there. You'll see what I mean when we get through it. But so here we have the image at the top. So let's scroll down a little bit. And well, I should point out, there it is. While courtship handbooks have always existed, and this is true, and they've always existed for both sexes, courtship handbooks have always existed. For some women, new technologies have both facilitated and necessitated a change in approach. And that's their little opening, like, but only for women, right?
I just have to comment. Why did they use an image of a bunch of men courting a feminine boy? Here, you know, like a young man.
That does kind of look like a...
like, why would they use that? I mean, is that like, as long as is this the future that they're predicting? If we continue to engage in these dating strategies, what will happen is that men will finally realize, you know what? Femboys actually aren't that unattractive,
Yeah.
They have better personalities. Because I'm finding this image a little bit bizarre.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess
and
that's...
they all have soy neckbeards. So does that mean that it takes 5 soy neckbeards to equate to one femme boy girl, whatever
Maybe it's some sort of mathematics that are going on here.
They're all gonna dump Grizzly Adams for Atreyu from Neverending Story. That's what it is. He wasn't necessarily a femboy, but he was clearly not an adult.
You're right.
But
Well,
None
no,
of these- none of these dudes, none of them are wearing socks. This is bothering me.
oh my gosh!
Exactly.
I didn't even notice that. Well, they might have those. They might be wearing those girly footies that you wear if you don't want people to know you're wearing socks. Or those might be slippers. They might be the guy that goes out in his house slippers, which, I honestly, that guy is kind of cool. The guy that goes out in his house slippers kind of has this "fuck you, I'm not wearing shoes" attitude, and I appreciate that because I hate shoes. So I would like to go out in my house slippers.
The guy who goes out in house slippers and apparently wants to date grown-up Atreyu.
See, I wouldn't be able to date any of these guys because they're all carrying roses, so I would be allergic to them, so it doesn't matter. So, there we go.
Or maybe they're giving him roses to give to Artex.
Yeah.
So Artex doesn't get swallowed up by the swamp of sadness.
This whole discussion is turning into the swamp of sadness. Let's actually dive into the muck here. Rebecca Campbell remembers the moment she knew things had to change. I got to age 34 and woke up one Christmas morning on a fold-out bed in the garage of some friends of my parents and was like, I don't want to live the rest of my life like this, she says. I could see that I was potentially going to miss out on having a family unless I did something drastic. So what's that called, folks? Hitting what?
I don't even think that's necessarily the wall, because a lot of women who hit the wall hit it with like a condo and 2 cats.
Yeah, that's true.
Hits it on probably waking up from some kind of bender and beer cans strewn around, and she's like, I might need to shape up my ass. Imagine this image, and it was a man.
Oh my god!
What is this person's name again?
Rebecca Campbell. It's probably
let's call him Bob Campbell. Let's say Bob Campbell wakes up in his friend's garage on the frickin' couch and says to himself, I'm never gonna have a family like this.
No shit, Sherlock.
Not when you're inhaling carbon monoxide every night. Like, why are you sleeping in a garage? Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was a permanent arrangement or what.
Because Bob does not have a house. He does not he's not gainfully employed, and he's spending all of his nights getting drunk. Now let's hear the story of Bob. Is the story of Bob going to be one of assuming responsibility? Oh, of course not, because it's not Bob, it's Rebecca. It's going to be the story of how Rebecca's been screwed by the world. But I'm just guessing, I could be wrong.
There's something else going on here too, because if this was Bob, we would hear feminists criticizing Bob for a particular failure in the next paragraph, right? So
Rebecca's massive failure to launch.
No. Campbell was single and had not been on a date since the death of her boyfriend a decade prior.
Wow.
In those 10 years, she focused her energy on building a successful business career, which is why she was living in a garage, including founding the Order Ahead app Hey You. So she resolved to begin...
Something is not adding up.
Yeah. So she resolved to begin dating the same way, and she launched brands. And I'm going to stop here. If this was Bob, all right... It sounds like Campbell wasn't dating and threw herself into her work as a part of her grieving process. I caught myself doing that. Not the not dating part, because I'm married, so I don't have to worry about dating. But not living and focusing. Like, I went total workaholic right after my mom died. Like, really hard-line total workaholic. I picked up extra hours at work. I started writing things. I, didn't want to think about it. And I will bet you, like, that was the guy for her, right? She probably thought, I'm with the guy, and then he passed away. And we don't know how that happened or what went on there or anything. She didn't date again for 10 years. And if that was Bob Campbell, we'd be like, it's toxic masculinity. He's not confronting his grief. But nothing in the article mentions that.
The problem I'm having is the inconsistencies here. So she created this app. Obviously, if she's sleeping in her friend's garage, she's not a successful business person.
Yeah.
One would assume. Like, if we're talking about her, oh yeah, she just came back from like her penthouse suite and blah blah, in her office on the tower, blah blah blah. And this is somebody who's, I think, probably just failed.
Yeah,
like
quite possibly.
Many people just failed at producing something, and ended up on a couch somewhere. If with any other individual, if this was a man, again, they would use that failure to launch.
If this was a man, he wouldn't have been living in a garage. There's a 75 to 25 chance there as far as the being, quote, houseless, that they say now, houseless. You're not homeless, you're houseless. But most couch surfers are women. Most homeless people who are outdoors are men.
Which is actually really surprising, because if you are considering giving your house or a room or a couch to a woman, you know, in a lot of places, she can accuse you of abuse or attacking her and get your entire house.
Yep.
And get you kicked out of your own house. You might want to consider that the next time you house a woman.
Yeah. Going on.
But regardless, let's keep going, yeah.
So here's where we start to get to the meat of the actual story here. So she resolved to begin dating the same way she launched brands, by sketching out a plan that resembled the, quote, sales funnel she used in her work. So real quick, I'm going to, shoot, my cursor vanished here. Sales funnels. All right. What is a sales funnel? Here we go. And I've got a link. This is really hard when I can't see what I'm hovering over. Gosh dang it.
You need an explanation of what a sales funnel is?
Well, I was going to give an explanation. I'm going to read it. I'm sorry I'm not going to give you guys the link because I have no cursor. What the hell? Like, why is my cursor not showing all of a sudden? The sales funnel, also known as a revenue funnel or sales process, refers to the buying process that companies lead customers through when purchasing products. The definition also refers to the process through which a company finds, qualifies, and sells its products to buyers. Typical sales funnel is divided into multiple steps, which differ depending on the particular sales model. One of the most common ways of dividing a sales funnel possesses 7 phases, including the awareness phase, in which prospects become aware of the existence of a solution, the interest phase, in which prospects demonstrate interest in a product by conducting product research, the evaluation phase, in which prospects or prospect companies examine competitor solutions as they inch toward a final buying decision, the decision phase, in which a final decision is reached and negotiation begins, the purchase phase, in which goods or services are purchased, the reevaluation phase. In B2B sales, business-to-business sales, it's common for offerings to involve contracts that need to be renewed, and then the repurchase phase, in which a customer repurchases a product or service. So that's basically, she basically took a marketing approach to this that's like selling herself. So I'm going to close this tab.
That's really interesting, because a lot of pickup artist techniques are based on the kind of stuff you learn in sales.
Yeah.
How to approach people, how to generate interest, how to use stories to generate interest, how to deal with what they call last-minute objections, which isn't necessarily that somebody doesn't want something, but just that they want to deal with all of their potential objections to having it.
Yeah.
And when then pickup artists use sales techniques, which is basically what pickup artists really is, it's sales techniques as applied to dating.
Yep.
They go bonkers. Now, here's the question. What kind of technique is she going to use for the lip of her sales funnel?
That's
Does
a good
she
question.
have some kind of way of creating some message that she's sending out to men who might not have consented to have her speak to them?
Yeah, this is quite an interesting approach.
Fascinating that she's using the language of marketing and considering herself, shall we say, a product to be marketed.
Yeah.
So some interesting thoughts going on there.
But
Let's find out.
This is totally nothing like prostitution, guys. Just so you know, because like
We're pickup artistry.
Yeah, we're pickup artistry. No comparison.
Self-objectification.
Yeah, none of that. No.
All right, let's find out what this. Okay, marketing.
My face is not straight right now. Sorry, guys. She says,
"Is it crooked?"
It is quite not straight. I thought about it the same way for dating. At the top of the funnel, I needed to have as many candidates as possible, she says. At the top of the dating funnel, I needed to have as many candidates as possible.
Here's where the analogy sort of breaks down. When you're in sales, you want to sell to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And so I guess she wants to have as many prospects as possible, but she's actually trying to winnow through them. This is the exact opposite of... I think I understand why your business failed, lady, and you ended up sleeping on a couch in your parents. Yeah, probably not friends. Parents. That's probably just a little bit of a tweak, so she doesn't sound as much like a loser. Her friends' garage.
Her parents' friends' garage. Yeah, it's like your cousin's sister's brother.
A sales funnel has a completely different purpose than what you're saying you're creating.
Right.
Because what you're creating is it's more like a sieve to try to get through the stuff you don't want and find the stuff you do. Yeah. Whereas a sales funnel is about trying to get as many people as possible through the door, not repel as many people as possible. So the fact that you don't even understand what sales are might suggest why you failed to have a business. And say what you will about the 40-year-old woman who's actually financially successful, and wakes up one day and is like, I think my ovaries might have been turned into raisins. I forgot to have
a romantic life. I forgot to make connections with other people that weren't business related.
At least she built something.
Yeah.
This is a loser. Yeah. And I know, I feel bad for her. Her boyfriend died 10 years ago. That's horrible. Yeah. It's a grieving process, etc. That has nothing to do with the fact that you failed and you don't understand sales.
Yeah. When I used to sell cameras, of course, the first thing is the only people that came in were people who came in to the store because it was a camera store that sold photo and video equipment and accessories and books on the topic and a few related things that you might use if you were involved in these hobbies, right? Somebody would come in and tell me that they were looking to buy a camera. We had like 7 or 8 different big brand names and a whole bunch of different little makes and models. It's like going to a car dealership and saying, I would like to buy a car. And so the first thing I ask them is, what kind of photography are you looking to do with it? Because you have professional photography, you have amateur photography, you have artistic photography, you have unprofessional photography, you have journalism, you have wedding photography, portraiture, you might be doing images for sales, and so I needed to know what make and model of camera had the best features to suit their needs. And it was all about narrowing it down. It wasn't about having them look at all the different cameras and then decide. It was about not wasting their time having them look at cameras that were nothing that they needed. And this woman seems to be doing exactly the opposite. She decided to waste as much of her time as humanly possible and the time of a bunch of men with dates that were going to go nowhere when she was looking for a mate. Which, if she found a guy that's compatible with her and they have children, they're gonna have to like watch those children like hawks, because they're gonna inherit the dingbat gene from both parents.
Well, I'm just fascinated to follow along on this journey. So here we see a woman who has an essential misunderstanding of reality. Like, okay, I'm going to use a sales funnel for something that is more like a sieve. So I don't understand I don't have a basic understanding what a sales funnel is, or a sieve for that matter. So let me use my my funnel sieve. You see what I'm?
Yeah, this
trying
makes
to get liquid into a bottle with a funnel sieve. Let me use my funnel sieve on reality, and let's see what happens and how I can blame men for the resultant mess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
oh yeah.
I don't know if she's going to blame men. Who knows? Let's see.
Women always blame men when women make decisions about men, and then things go wrong. And so, like,
Let's see how she does.
So
let's see how she does funneling water through, or funneling fluid through her funnel sieve.
So here we go. Her name, again, this is Rebecca Campbell. She wrote a book about her experiences. It's called 138 Dates. And I think that actually means that she went out with 138 men on one date per guy.
Oh, for a second, I thought it was 138 men on one date. Like,
oh, that would be... There was a gal that did that, and she did a sudden death elimination strategy where, something goes wrong, you're out of here. And, like, she did that, and a bunch of the guys that showed up realized that that's what she was doing, and were like, we're out of here, bye. So those were the first ones eliminated. They were the smart ones.
Yeah.
And then the rest played along?
There were guys that played along, yeah. That's like, oh my god.
Oh man, admittedly I have the advantage of not necessarily being as attracted to women as men are, but if I were the guy that got through to the end, I'd be like, oh, by the way, you're eliminated for having done this in the first place.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Jesus.
Yeah.
So awesome.
So
things that never happened.
To bring in leads, not to meet guys, right? To bring in
romantic interests.
Yeah.
Another misunderstanding of sales. When you're selling, you're actually trying to understand the person you're selling to. I'm guessing she doesn't do that.
No. To bring in leads, Campbell signed up for online dating platforms such as eHarmony and Tinder.
Just a question. Since she's using sales, has she identified the problem that she solves for these men? Well, I don't. Like, have we identified the problem that adult Atreyu solves for the men that are courting him?
They're single, so obviously that's a problem.
Right?
They might,
that's her
even
problem,
if they like it, they're single. Not just she's single. Her problem is their problem. They're single too. They're dating, right?
Right. All they need is a hole to fall in. That's all
they're
they're looking for.
All they need is an eHarmony hoe.
Yeah.
They're just going to do an exchange of problems, like a swap meet, I guess.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let's find out. I'm sorry for interrupting.
God. She signed up for the online dating platforms such as eHarmony and Tinder, and tasked friends with matchmaking duties. So, note to everybody who is my friend: if you do this, we are not friends anymore. I don't matchmake.
Wow, this is that's really, not only are you sleeping in your friend's garage, you are tasking. I love how she says it. I tasked them.
Yeah, like, bitch, I'm not your pimp. Go fuck yourself.
Right.
Like, holy shit, I'm not your madam. I'm not your madam.
Did her friends consent to her even asking them to task them with stuff?
Oh, this is, I'll tell you what, this is one of the things that bugs me about, like, I'm not like that girl that can't get along with other women, but this is a thing that I hate about other women. And I, like, on one hand, if I got friends that I think will get along, I'll invite them to the same thing, and I think, well, these guys might get along. It'll be fun to interact together as a group. And if they become friends, that's great. But you don't shove them together like Barbie and Ken going, hey, you guys need to hang out because I like you both and you guys have a lot in common. That's really a boundary issue problem. Like, and this is a common thing for girls. I had, when I was single, and I was recovering from a breakup that was really rough because I didn't leave the guy because we didn't like each other. I left the guy because our relationship was getting dysfunctional, and I didn't have the maturity to fix my end of it, and I didn't know how to change that at the time. And it hurt. Like, I didn't want to break up. I just knew I was going to wreck him if I didn't. And so I was going to take a couple of years and grow the fuck up. I don't think I worded it that way at the time, because I don't think I was mature enough to word it that way at the time. But as soon as I was single, all of my friends decided that was a problem, and they started setting me up with, oh, you got to go out with this guy, you got to go out with this guy, he's going to like you, you're going to like him. I didn't want to. I don't want to, you know? And then it's like, well, you're rejecting the guy. No, I'm rejecting dating. I don't want to date right now. And I went through that at 3 distinct times when I was still single, for 3 different reasons. The first one, the earliest one, was I don't want to start dating yet. I still play with Barbies. You know, like that was clear back in junior high. I had girls saying, "Oh, you need a boyfriend. You need a boyfriend." I'm 14. Leave me alone. I don't want a boyfriend. You know. So, and this is one of those things that everybody is, "Oh, are you autistic? Are you autistic?" I'm going to just start answering yes. I mean, seriously, I watched a video on autism from the inside, or Asperger's from the inside, the channel, and then it led me to another video and another video, and I'm like, shit. I
might be autistic.
I've erased pretty much any doubt. Just really high functioning autistic. So
Okay.
that's just the way the ball bounces, and I seem to be doing all right with it, so I don't care. But and in the meantime, like, that would explain why, like, I didn't really want to date until I was, much older teenager. I was busy. Other people will probably not understand that, but I was busy. And when I wasn't busy anymore, then I wanted to date. But this is something that women do not get, girls do not get, and they really don't get it about guys. Guys don't want to just be set up with some random cunt who is looking to settle down right now. Mm-hmm. Like, they want to meet somebody and have their own damn relationships.
For the other side of this. So she's getting her friends to go find men and to meet. Oh,
right.
By the way.
And yes, they do get really into that. Girls get really into that. Oh, yes, I will set you up with every guy I know. And the guys are going to be all like, oh, shit, here we go again.
And the other thing is that, are they aware of this before they start getting set up?
Oh,
with these women. Okay, let's go a little further into this. I mean, it feels like this is a setup for the Three Stooges, some serious pratfalls. Sorry, I mixed the first letters of that. Except, of course, in this case, we have the Stoogina, who's going to blame everything on men every time she falls on her face. Okay, but I'm actually fascinated to find out how she falls on her face and how she blames it on men. So let's find out.
So here you go. To bring in leads, she tasked her friends with matchmaking duties. She goes on. She created a list of the traits she wanted in a partner. To vet candidates, she had screening calls with potential dates before meeting them. So she asked these friends of hers to set her up with all these guys, and then she screened them before she went out with them. And even if, like, the guy maybe didn't want to go, and Susie says, "Oh, but you gotta meet this woman, Rebecca Campbell. She's really cool. I think you'll like her." And he calls Rebecca, and they talk on the phone, and Rebecca's like, "I don't think this is gonna work out. Never mind."
Yeah.
Like,
so she had 138 dates, and those are the ones that passed the initial test.
Screening process. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, God, how picky are you, bitch?
Which means
also, what the heck does she bring to the table?
Yeah.
I really would love to know that, because she's sleeping in a garage.
Yeah. And to ensure a, quote, controlled experiment, she met her suitors at one of the same 2 venues every week. So these people at this venue, at these venues, see this chick show up with a different guy every week.
These aren't suitors. These are zoo-goers, lady.
She documented her strategy in the book, 138 Dates, out now through Allen and Unwin. And
she actually end up with some poor schlub?
Oh, yeah. The approach paid off. After 3 years of dating, Campbell met her now husband.
Oh.
Some poor guy married her.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to be for very long, but yeah. I'm sure that she'll make it joyous for the probably 3.5 years that you'll be married.
When the divorce happens, she'll write a book about divorce strategy.
Oh, God.
It's going to be vicious.
Yeah. The first line will be a woman.
Yeah.
When you want to get a divorce, the first thing you should be is a woman.
Yeah. Well, and there's this little tiny sliver of hope, like maybe 1% of focus, right? Sliver of hope that after all of this journey that she went on, wasting 137 guys' time plus whoever she screened out on the phone, and her own, and she met a guy that they really are that compatible, and she will be as invested emotionally in his welfare as he is in hers. Cross fingers and hope, and they'll have a long relationship and be happy, and maybe they won't have kids who are as much of a dingbat as she seems to be based on this article. But I'm not going to hold my breath because I like to breathe. So, and I just want to point out, this woman wrote a book about essentially female pickup artistry, because that's basically what this is. It's just a different set of methods, slightly different, by the way, set of methods. And no huge movement of angry men tried to get her book canceled. No one tried to get her canceled off social media. No one followed her around and poured bottles of urine on her head. No one petitioned different nations to ban her from entry. No one even tried to deplatform the subreddit about her topic, right? None of that has happened. She's on Twitter. She's on Facebook. All of that's still there, and nobody is trying to get rid of it, and nobody will, because that's not how men, and it's not how men's advocates handle this kind of stuff. But we will make fun of her for it. I mean, like, she deserves that. But, and probably, there will be women who will be outraged that we even dared to laugh at this behavior. Whereas, if she was Bob Campbell, and she did all this, and she wrote a book about it, and she published it, even if the end result was finding the perfect woman for him to marry, the outrage, the butthurt, the how dare you have those kind of standards for women, all of it would be, just absolute, another apoplectic fit, just like when they looked at male strategies for getting laid and male dating strategies for finding a partner, which they reacted that way toward both, and there might be a subset of women who would treat it all as very romantic, but at the same time they would still consider it abusive toward the women that get rejected.
Yeah, absolutely. He'd be labeled a womanizer, and he must be somehow shaming the women that he rejected in some way. Maybe one has 10 pounds too much, and oh my God, he's fat shaming because he doesn't like. No, that's not it at all. Like, people have preferences, and that's fine. But yeah, no, it's just, but it's not allowed when you're a man. If you're a woman, your list can be a mile long, and it's just like, oh well, that's what she wants, No, it's completely different.
Well, yeah. Well, believe me, if this was a story about a man, started his dating life waking up on his friend's couch in his friend's garage and saying to himself, I need to get a family. What I'm going to start with is writing out a list of all the traits I want in my female partner, and then I'm going to approach it like a marketing strategy. And I'm going to vet these women, and I'm going to call them to make sure that they have my traits. Oh, hey, Betty, do you have a 24-inch waist? Nope.
Yeah. Well, you could even look at the standards my dad got yelled at for having when he was in college. Hey, Betty, what kind of career do you want to embark on when you get out of school? Like, there were women that got mad at him for wanting to marry a woman who, if he died in an accident, would be able to support herself and wouldn't be screwed.
Well, they got angry that men have any standards. But could you imagine this? Like,
No.
yeah, I'm calling from the couch of my friend's garage. Betty, you don't got those model good looks. You don't have that 6-figure salary. You can't break coconuts with your thighs. I'm just not feeling the vibe here. I'm just not. I just don't think you measure up to my standards as a failed app developer sleeping on my friends' couches. Jesus Christ! This is what this woman is presenting to us.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And
Right.
I'm starting to think that the man who married her probably felt a whole lot of pity.
Well,
Oh, God, I hope not.
I don't. Maybe she got a job, and stopped taking style tips from Atreyu. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Or Encino Man.
man. Well, no, I actually much prefer the idea that these, they aren't necessarily neckbeards. They could be like extremely, hipstery Grizzly
Yeah.
Adams.
Well, that's just it. They're not really, because neckbeards are actually kind of cool. They're usually pretty
I'm a fan.
laid back dudes, But
I'm a fan.
yeah, the hipster beard kind of guy. Well, yeah, I'm kind of married a guy that his beard can, if he decides he wants to let it go, his beard can bush. He looks like Bluto. And I just take my fingers and run them through the beard.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right. So here's what I'm getting. So these are gay.
Yeah.
Gay Grizzly Adams.
Hipster
Really
dudes.
likes casual hipster dude. Really likes casual wear, all attempting to date a grown-up Atreyu. That's where I'm going. That's where my mind is going. I don't
That
want to see
picture
this
is
woman in this
kinda-
at all. It's a much more interesting story than this.
There we
Whatever
go.
the hell we're reading.
Well, we're gonna read some more.
Yeah, we probably should, eh? Before we're gonna
So
get
so
through
we
it.
say after 3 years of dating, Campbell met her now husband. All right, 138
about him?
dates. Oh, it
there-
doesn't say anything about him. It doesn't give any information about him so far. So 138 dates is one woman's personal dating strategy, but Campbell is not alone in applying a set of rules to her love life. On Reddit, a community of 179,000 mostly heterosexual women discuss their courtship tactics in the subreddit Our Female Dating Strategy. The board began in 2019. This is now 2019, all right? 2019 is after 10 years of Reddit feminists trying to get rid of the manosphere subreddits. All of them. And the porn subreddits that cater more to male visual interests than female visual interests. And any guy that they thought might be a little misogynistic and so on. But the female dating strategy subreddit has 179,000 members and started in 2019 after they made it clear that this kind of behavior is sexist. And it goes on.
Oh, what do you expect?
The female dating strategy universe expanded this year to include a website and a podcast. The female dating strategy, FDS, which is really funny because FDS is the initials of a florist that does delivery in Ohio. I don't know if that's like everywhere or not, but getting an FDS delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah. They advertise all the time on the radio, so as soon as I saw FDS, I'm just like, oh god, that's hilarious. But offers a range of, and then it says in parentheses, often brutal, expletive-laden. Like, okay, so, often brutal, expletive-laden advice to single women designed to optimize the female dating experience. Among the 6-point FDS mantras are ruthlessly evaluate men, make him invest before sex, and don't split the bill.
Okay. All right. Let's go there. Oh my God. Yeah. No. Let's not split the bill. So when you're at dinner with this bitch and she's on her phone and not paying attention and expects you to pay for everything, you kindly get up. You walk the fuck out of the restaurant, and she can split the bill between whoever she's texting on her fucking phone.
It seems like this is a perfect way to vet these women.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you just say, so this date, we will be splitting the bill. Oh, are you one of those female dating strategies? Like right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that if she's okay with splitting the bill, if she's okay with, and this is so strange. Like, how do the rules work for splitting the bill? Like, presumably, if he's your friend, you don't expect him to pay for you. Yet, at the same time, if he has an interest in you that's sexual, that is harassment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's just okay. Well, here you go. If you're a guy listening to this, they've just given you a very easy way to vet them. Split the bill on the first date, and if they don't want to do it, then you know that they are from the female dating strategy website or they're influenced by them, and you know that you have just dodged a bullet.
Exactly, because a woman who is really genuinely interested in you won't make you jump through these fucking, these rings. Like, you won't have to do this. If she's really into you, splitting the bill for dinner is not.
Yeah,
it's not a deal breaker.
So
it's not a deal breaker.
No, it's not a deal breaker. And I'll be honest, this rule about don't ask men out, that no, I do or did. I asked guys out, and if I was the one who initiated the date, I assumed I would be paying because I was the one who asked him out. And there's a bunch of stuff in here, like a list of no-nos include asking a man out. FDS believes women should not make the first move, and drink dates. They're low effort. Going out for a meal is preferred. Okay, so none of that fits. I've broken all of these rules except for the drink dates because I don't drink that much. And I never drink on a first date, or never drank on a first date. But like just going back and looking at when I was like in college and I was really dating, I asked guys out. I didn't ruthlessly evaluate men. I asked guys out if we had things in common and I wanted to spend more time with them. And I went out on dates with guys that asked me out that I wasn't sure, it was going to work out or anything, because it's hard to ask somebody out. And also, you don't always know how much you're going to like somebody from just hanging out with them in a group of people. And when you get a chance to chit-chat one-on-one, that's a lot better way to find out just how much you're going to like somebody. But this idea of, it has to be a dinner date, it has to be this kind of date, it's all bullshit. Go someplace where you have something in a common interest, and go someplace where you're going to have fun together, and where you're going to learn about each other. Go to a festival, go to a museum, go hiking. Go hiking.
You don't have to pay for that.
That's true. Go for a walk in the park.
And here's a tip for men. Go hiking and leave her about 5 miles away from the nearest civilization. and
She
just leave her
makes it
completely
back.
alone. And if she makes it back,
No, don't do that.
she'll be strong enough to bear children. I
There
don't
you
know.
go. No, don't do that. That was a joke.
That's a joke. But okay, here's the other thing. Like, have they considered that as a woman, maybe you should actually split the meal in order to know for sure that this person is somebody that you genuinely like, and you're not just doing it like. Where does that come in? Because if you allow him to pay for you, how much is it a genuine like? Like you spend time with your female friends presumably because you genuinely like them, not because they're paying for your meal. If you start the relationship by this exchange of resources, how do you know you genuinely like him?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there's something to be said, like there's nothing really wrong with paying for a date in general, right? But
Also,
you
isn't
need
this prostitution? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
well, but if she doesn't also reciprocate, that's the biggest issue right there. You know what I mean? It can't be just you constantly paying for things, paying. If she doesn't, initiate some kind of gesture, then you know that you're not working with a reciprocal, person. Like it's just not going to be that type of relationship.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and what happens when you're in a relationship and you as a woman actually have to contribute financially to the relationship, because it's extremely rare for you to find a man who makes six figures, and then when you find a man who makes six figures, that alpha type, he's probably not going to be able to maintain like a fit figure, because it's extremely stressful, those kinds of jobs.
Well, there's another issue. Women's spending has a tendency to expand to fit the income out of which they are spending. And it's something that happens without a lot of consideration from the woman as to how much she's spending. And I've noticed this with all of the women I know that are close to me, except for one. And it was because she was the breadwinner of her household for pretty much the entire time her kids were little. And she actually didn't expand her spending when her income went up. Not significantly anyway, not more than, there was a while where she had an income that wasn't paying the bills. So, then it expanded, obviously. But yeah, this is a problem. Women who feel like their attention needs to be purchased, and then don't feel like they need to, in any way, spend resources pleasing the guy who's purchasing their attention. That's a really bad situation for the guy.
Well, and the other thing is for the woman, once again, I mean, if you split, you have a better sense if you like the guy versus just want the resources. And the other thing is that if you don't look at it in terms of a resource acquisition, when you are in a relationship, you are more likely to have a companionate relationship, and one that you will enjoy. Because I know that women don't seem to understand this, but there isn't actually a lot of joy that you get out of material things. And finding someone you love is something that is so profoundly greater. After, a certain level, you don't want to be in poverty necessarily, but after a certain level of comfort, material goods don't matter.
Yeah.
So it seems to me like they're self-selecting a situation where they're going to be miserable because they selected a man who has the same kind of materialist attitude, and then turn around and say, how dare you think I owe you sex, even though I think that you owe me money for sex. You know what? You individuals who write these lists probably shouldn't be in relationships because you don't know what they are. Why don't you just be a prostitute? Is the real difference between prostitutes and female dating strategies that prostitutes are honest and the fees are up front?
Yeah. Well, yeah. There is actually a trend, I guess I would say, among Tinder women. I don't know if they do it on eHarmony and other sites, but I know it happens on Tinder, and I've seen forum discussions among women on how to do it, and on men about what it feels like to be on the receiving end of it. And that is women who go out on dates with guys just to get free food. They literally don't have any interest at all in the guy. He takes them out on a dinner date. They have dinner together, and then she ghosts him. He never hears from her again. And there are guys that for a long time have suspected that, right? Here we have these women that insist the date has to be a dinner date. They want to meet in a restaurant because it's a well-lit public place and blah, 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 whatever reason they give. They get their dinner, and then they never call back. They don't answer. They ghost. They disappear off the platform for a while, whatever. And they're like, I think she just went out with me to get a free meal. It's confirmed. There are women who actually talk about it. There are women who do it all the time. And it's really shitty behavior. And so, like, for a guy, the defense against this, the only defense against this, is Dutch dates or going out to places that are free or don't have food.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow, another reason to hate women.
And it's
like I'm actually at the point where I think I am a full-fledged misogynist. I just despise women. I mean, there's some individual women who are okay or decent.
Yeah.
But I am there. I am really there. Like, because there's nothing that women as a group have done that appears to be in any way of benefit to anybody but themselves. And often not even to themselves. It's just like hatefulness for the sake of hatefulness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, can we identify one thing that is admirable about women that they've done that isn't like a podcast with 90 people watching? You know, like, it's anything admirable. You listen to this in the comments. You show me something, some initiative women have done that actually is of benefit to someone other than women. Or some behavior in public that shows some kind of demonstration that they at all appreciate men in the fucking slightest.
You know, there used to be. But there aren't now.
There may used to have been.
And
now
it's sad.
The more I hear about this crap, the more I dislike women intensely. And women are like, "Oh, men are worse." No, men are not worse. There's no. First
men
of all,
built an entire civilization to provide for and protect women. What did women do in return?
This.
So, yeah, I really have a rough time. Taking that kind of argument from women. Oh yeah, men do the same thing. No, they don't.
No,
you don't get foodie calls from men, right?
Right.
And you know what? Most MGTOW, you know why they don't want to date most MGTOW? Because of the legal situation that men are in. Mm-hmm. Not because some of them definitely have some very negative views on women. That be it as it may, I think most of them don't want to date and they don't want to get involved. They certainly don't want to marry because of the legal situation.
Yeah.
That it places them in as men. And they call that misogynist. And this is, it's fine. It's perfectly acceptable behavior. It's like women could have the most appalling, they do, the most appalling, selfish, self-involved, completely ungrateful, entitled behavior. And everybody will say, well, you got to respect women. Why?
No.
Why do I have to respect women?
No.
Unless they fucking earn it. And
that's
believe me, I'm not seeing a lot of earning.
There are rare women left in the world. The world is mostly populated. Most of the female human beings in the world are women. Mm-hmm. And you can't respect women. And yeah, I hate women. I can't stand women. I get along great with women, but I can't stand women.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a really good way to put it. And this, what we're reading about here, is a woman.
Yeah.
A woman.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so disgusting because, these types of women, right, which is an ungodly amount of them, they're not looking for a partner, right? They want someone, they want, a companion, what they're looking for really is whatever they can get from that person, right? So that's why this whole, don't split the bill thing is a thing, right? Because if you can extract resources from a guy, that's the goal, right? But it's not even that. I really don't think that these women are looking for an actual human connection with someone. It's all a test. It's all a test. I want to see if you can provide. I want to see if you can make me laugh, because, and really what it shows is the character of the person. I need to see if you can provide for me because I'm a broke bitch. I want a guy that has a great sense of humor because I'm a humorless cunt.
Yeah.
I want that guy to make me laugh because that will make me feel good. That's all I see.
That he won't make her laugh because every time he tells a joke, she's going to get offended and go, "That's not funny."
Yeah, exactly. But it just shows the difference between, PUAs and what this bitch is doing, right? It's like she's just trying to cast a wide net to figure out where she's got the best chances of getting whatever resources she wants from that guy. Whereas, PUAs, they're pretty fucking clear. All they want is they just want a little nookie. You know what I mean? They want some attention.
Or a relationship. And
Right.
they're also, the way that they approach is that they're trying to appeal to the woman. They're trying to give a positive experience to the woman, not extract as many resources as they can from the woman.
Right.
And then they call that misogynistic versus this.
Right.
Yep. And this is so
let's
FDS advocates dating multiple men simultaneously, cutting suitors off at the first red flag, which now if somebody raises a red flag with me, that's a different story, but their red flags and my red flags are a little bit different. Like wanting to split the bill is not a red flag, right? Wanting to come in after you've said no and starting to insist is a red flag. Those kinds of things. Like, no, I'm not gonna invite you inside tonight. Just let's end it tonight and meet another time, and make sure you're communicating that this isn't like we're not gonna see each other again. And somebody starts shoving at the door, then that's a red flag. That kind of behavior is a red flag. Treading over your boundaries is a red flag. But these women aren't being advised to watch for somebody to tread over their boundaries. They're being advised to watch somebody who is careful with his resources, right? And it goes on, as Campbell did, conducting pre-date interviews over the phone. So a guy asks you out, and then you talk to him on the phone, and you're like, maybe not. The goal is to filter out anyone who is not, in FDS parlance, a, quote, high-value man. High-value man. So here we are. This is the meat right there of the entire thing. They're looking for high-value men. This is they will get mad at men for looking for hot chicks. They will get mad at men for looking for women of character and not women who date multiple men simultaneously and cut them off at the sign of the first, quote, red flag, and maybe sleep around a lot. Maybe women of a specific character, women of a traditional character. They'll get mad about that. But it's okay for them to look for high-value men.
God damn it.
Yeah, it goes on. Deploying some form of strategy around dating is nothing new. Since the 1700s, women have parsed Jane Austen novels. Dang it, why can't I get, There we go. Have parsed Jane Austen novels for wisdom on selecting suitors. More recently, 1990s hit book The Rules, which we've all heard of, The Rules, explicitly doled out such dating instructions to women as don't call him and rarely return his calls, And don't accept a Saturday night date after Wednesday. Like that. Okay, so I've broken those rules. For men, 2005 bestseller The Game explored the rule of pickup artistry, or the world of pickup artistry, encouraging techniques such as, quote, negging, making comments that undermine a woman's self-confidence so they're more vulnerable to male advances. Negging only works if you either have an ego or low self-esteem. And
so it's not negging. It's like they use the term negging, but it's more like teasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why they do, like, why do pickup artists are like, we could really make things worse for ourselves, so let's do that.
Yeah.
Like, why would you use a term like negging when what it is it's more like playful teasing?
Well, it depends on how the guy does it. I've actually experienced what I think feminists would think of when you think of negging. And I didn't realize it at the time, and it had to be pointed out to me later because I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And it just went right over my head. But at the same time, it wasn't one of those situations where, like, you're flirting with somebody. It was after I was pretty much like no dating, nothing. And so I really didn't realize what happened until later. And so it was ineffective. And that's the thing. If you're not dealing with somebody who has either an ego that can be chipped away at, or low self-esteem that can be exacerbated, negging doesn't do anything. It has no effect at all. It's just like you might come across as rude at best. If the person that you're doing it to notices that you did it. But this, compare that to filtering out anyone who is not in FDS parlance a high value man. Right? That, they're like, these guys engage in negging. These women filter out anyone who's not rich.
Right.
Okay, well, I hope that I hope they realize that. I'm actually really freaking surprised this woman got married.
Yeah.
Because does she look like a model or something at 34?
No, she's not unattractive, but she's not somebody that you would just die to go out with, and she's not somebody that, if she called you on the phone or you called her on the phone and said, hey, let's go to this restaurant or that restaurant, and then you started having a conversation and she's like, I don't think it's going to work out. You're not going to be heartbroken because it didn't work out, right? It's like, okay, well, something's wrong with that woman. Dodged a bullet there. But, yeah.
There's a picture of her and the husband a little further down. No.
Like, there's nothing, like, I wouldn't look at that face and say, oh God, what an ugly woman, but I'm not going to look at her and be like, oh gosh, I just
picture?
If you scroll down to you'll see it in the article. Yeah. So we'll go on until we get there. Let's see.
Oh God,
sometimes
children.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Sometimes FDS echoes the social conservatism of the rules. Having sex in the first 6 weeks is discouraged, and FDS comes down hard against pornography, kink, and sex-positive politics of liberal feminism, all of which the group's moderators believe are harmful to women. While the rules prescribed what women can do to snare men, FDS focuses more on asking its disciples to ensure men are actually worth their time. For the female dating strategist adherents say, being single is not a failure, but an opportunity to work on yourself. So that line is kind of important for another reason. All right. This is advice that I have seen pickup artists, some of the less scammy pickup artist coaches, because a lot of pickup artistry is just scamming men left and right. With promises of you're going to get a connection to a woman out of this because you're going to be able to better connect with women, and then they teach them a bunch of stuff that actually sabotages their ability to connect with women, but might get them laid in the short term. And there are some relationship coaches for men who actually do say you have to work on yourself. And it's true. If you want to have a permanent relationship with another person, you do have to work on yourself. For me, if I had not grown and changed as our relationship continued for the last 20 years, I don't know if I'd have been able to maintain a relationship with my husband, because he grew and changed and became... He was already a great person when I got together with him, and he became a better person as he got older. And I had to become a better person to keep up with him than I was when we got together. And so if you're not able to do that, you're not able to work on yourself, and you don't start out with that attitude of working on yourself, whether you're male or female, it's going to screw up your ability to have a good long-term relationship. And so, like, that kind of advice is not bad in and of itself. And it's not a bad set of advice to give. Like, when you're dealing with an incel forum, you're talking to people who are suffering from depression and anxiety and loneliness and things like that. Once you can get past the grieving process that they're going through about their situation, and help to not necessarily mitigate that, but to help them to handle what they're going through and process it, and come out a little bit on the other side with their self-esteem intact and their ability to engage with other people intact. Then you also have to, if you're wanting to improve somebody's situation in that particular circumstance, you still have to help them work on what's keeping me from connecting with other people. What can I do about it in myself and in my choices of other people that I'm associating with? And this isn't bad, but if they're using it strictly to try to find rich men, then it's terrible. Because it becomes, well, you have to fake the person that you are in order to attract this kind of man.
Yeah, I don't... you know what? To be honest, I think that this Rebecca character might have got sucked into this.
Yeah.
Into a article where I don't know why she got mashed up with the rules. I'll put it this way. When I look lower and I read, she ended up finding her husband, but it wasn't because of these rules that she developed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what?
So now
it's just
she's...
because she well, I mean, we can get to it, but this is quite a long article. It's going to take probably another 3 hours at this rate. But essentially what happened was that she abandoned her rules as soon as she met her husband because they clicked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so why wasn't that at the beginning of the article? Oh, by the way, this person created these rules, and then when she found her husband, actually it just went out of the window because it wasn't helpful.
Actually, I'm going to scroll down to... Let's see... I'm going to start with while the female dating strategy has been compared to pickup artistry, because this is interesting. So, while the female dating strategy has been compared to pickup artistry for the way it, quote, gamifies dating, Savannah believes FDS isn't about trying to manipulate men into trying to behave a certain way. It's more about finding a man who is comfortable with you having boundaries and standards, and who understands how to treat a woman. So it's shopping for a guy.
No, but understands how to treat a woman.
Understands how to treat a woman, which is apparently different from how you treat a man.
But as far as I know, dating, like a pickup artist isn't manipulating women into things. It's just giving them whatever thing that they find attractive.
Well, and
like behavior that they find attractive.
Yeah.
Like,
here's the
how
thing.
is that manipulating? The only way you could say it's manipulating is if you say that the man is behaving in a way that he knows, on average, women will find attractive. That's it. It's what a pickup artist does. Or that's what they say that they can do for men. We can make you behave in a way that women find attractive. How is that manipulating women?
It's not.
Unless you somehow think that somehow men who do it this deliberately are being manipulative, like they're trying to be deliberately attractive, are manipulating you. It's ridiculous. And then to say, well, we want a man who knows how to treat a woman right.
Yeah. They could have reworded this.
No.
FDS isn't about trying to manipulate men into trying to behave a certain way. It's about finding a man who already behaves that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I really doubt that, they find the man that they want and he's not interested in them. They're not going to try to manipulate him into being interested in them. Because were they comparing that themselves to the rules? Because the rules is definitely about manipulation.
Oh yeah.
At least at least in comparison to pickup artistry. So they're saying that they are different from the rules in that way.
Yep. So it goes on. Rebecca Campbell is not a subscriber of female dating strategy, but like FDS believers, she aimed to date multiple men at the same time, mostly because she found dating to be a numbers game, which means she didn't understand relationships as much as anything else.
And then finish.
But she did eventually break that self-imposed rule. In other words, she created this female dating strategy, or something that appears to be similar to female dating strategy, and then when she abandoned it, it was when she found her husband. Yeah.
Okay.
So they use this woman as an excuse to write this article about female dating strategy.
And I'm actually sort of feeling sorry for Rebecca, because it's like she was shanghaied. She got knocked out and woke up in a really stupid article. That doesn't even make sense. But on the other hand, she did write the book, and she didn't. And again, I'm not. You know what? Maybe she's a really dim, but genuine person.
Maybe.
But she doesn't understand marketing. She doesn't understand. She created a sieve funnel, and eventually threw it away and was like, that this isn't working, or threw it away the moment that it clicked, which is, yeah, that's how it often works.
Yeah.
You find someone you click with.
I love this line. When I did meet my husband, I canceled every other date I had lined up, she says. I just knew straight away he was the one. Bingo! Shouldn't have been dating all those other guys. It's not a number game.
Right.
It's a connection game. And it's not really a game, but it's...
Which it can be a numbers game, because it's hard to find, people to connect. Or a situation that requires a sieve. So she essentially created a funnel sieve. And then when the funnel sieve failed to actually funnel water into the bottle, you see what I'm saying? It got water everywhere. She's like, you know what, this isn't working. And she found her husband. Okay, like I said, I think this woman might be slightly dim. Maybe she's well-meaning. Why is she in this article?
Because they needed
female dating strategy people.
This is the funny thing. So this type of writer doesn't know how to write about something like this without highlighting a person. They have to tell this person's story and wrap the article around the person's story. They cannot just look into what this female dating strategy is and then write about it in terms of, this is who these people are, this is what they do, this is what their rules are, this is how it works.
Yeah, this is a good thing, because look at this young woman, and she had a great outcome. So obviously, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Even though she wasn't using it.
She wasn't using her own rules.
I love this. I think there is something magic that happens when two people connect. You can't necessarily turn into a formula. No shit, Sherlock! Come on!
Jesus Christ.
But putting yourself in Luck's way is definitely a good strategy. In Luck's way, but not in the way of a highway of traffic where you were relying on luck to find the needle in the haystack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's put it this way. She went on a whole bunch of dates. She did all of this stuff, and then she ended up, in the end, it just came down to clicking with someone, which the only way it's going to happen is if men approach it without you making this much work, because this sounded like it was a hell of a lot of work, as if men are allowed to approach you in goddamn public and talk to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Fuck this bitch all the way, because yes, sometimes you have to put yourself out there, okay? Sometimes you have to go the extra mile. sometimes you have to get on a plane and fly to a different country to at least have a meeting with a person, you know, to see if something works. Maybe if you extend yourself a little bit, do a little bit of fucking work, bitch.
Yeah.
No, what she did was just, she cast her net as wide as she could, and then just, you know, sieve filtered out all of what she deemed was undesirable. You know, it's like it all came to her, and she just really didn't have to do any work. She was just there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the feminine dating strategy.
So now,
in the end, all of these roles got thrown out. Now, the point that the overall point I'm trying to make is it seems like this woman got shanghaied into this article. Because this, first of all, well, also, why would she write a book and say, well, this is what I did? And basically all it amounts to is, yeah, if you can't find someone, go on more dates.
basically, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
okay, all right. But how did she get shanghaied into being the front face of FDS? Like, are the women who are part of female dating strategy so appalling, like such appalling human beings that they couldn't even be the front face of their own article? Because this is not really about Rebecca Campbell. It's about female dating strategy.
It sounds like this Katie Cunningham, cunning something. This chick, it sounds like she read whatever book this Rebecca chick wrote, and no,
She didn't even read the book. She
No,
just...
there's no connection between a woman who says, you know, if you want to find someone, go on a lot of dates, and female dating strategy. Okay, woman who says, okay, you go on a lot of dates, and you know, meet a lot of men, and then suddenly finds the guy she clicks with, which is completely luck. So she wouldn't have even, if she had met this guy. If this guy, let's say, had been in a train stop and saw her and was like, you know, I think that she's quite attractive. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to strike up a conversation with her and see if we connect on some level. And she had met him that way. She would never have gone through this. She would never have done 138 dates.
Yeah.
She would have never asked her friends. And it could have gone that way. You know, it is luck. Okay? That you find somebody that you are truly compatible in that way. And it's not luck that you stay with them. That generally is elbow grease. But, you know, you find someone you click with, you have that initial, that gets you over the hump, you get together, you enjoy each other's company. Right.
So
that
I want to...
can happen for women. You know, there was a time when men could do the 138 dates for you by just going up to you and being like, hey, and you see if you click. And if you don't, you say bye, but apparently that's now horrible harassment that women cannot sustain at any under. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So I've put a link into our chat to the actual female dating strategy subreddit. I just want to take a brief look because, you know, they've said this is not about you know, this isn't anything like the terrible, awful, horrible, bad subreddits that men have, you know, that we've tried to get rid of. So I want you to look at the second post.
Hannah just wants to poke the landmine just a little bit.
Just want you to look at the second post here. Yeah. The first post, like top post, their pinned post by the moderators is about this article, or no, not anymore. It's about their podcast, episode 23, examining communication dynamics. Sounds really, you know, technical and all that stuff. And then the next most hot post, according to Reddit, is a meme. This is something that they used to complain about us doing in the men's rights subreddit. Just saying here, really quick. That you know, the men's rights subreddit is full of misogynistic memes that criticize female behavior. So this meme is a photograph of a post-it note that says, if prostitution was empowering for women, men would be against it.
Isn't it amazing how they can print these these condemnations of men's character?
Yeah.
And they have enough of a market for this crap that they can print all kinds of stickers and postcards and all of that That's basically just condemning the essential character of men as a group.
Yeah, and what really gets me is, like, here we are, our subs are better than your subs. Our subreddits are better than your subreddits. Our forums are better than your forums. We don't do this kind of thing in our forums. And the hottest post in the forum, the one with the most engagement, it has 2,300 upvotes, is a picture of a postie that has a misandric statement on it about men. That men would oppose something just because it's empowering to women. That is a nasty statement about men's character. It's not true. But that's their hottest post in the female dating subreddit.
Oh, and also their rule, what was it, 2 or 3? Actually, don't give sex until a man pays for it.
Yeah,
sort of contradicts this. If you are so against the idea of exchanging sex for wealth or resources, why is it one of your principal rules?
Yeah.
And why is it that you would? And I like this one. The next is questions to ask yourself when vetting a man.
Yeah.
People think they're competing with other suitors when dating me, but really I'm comparing you to my own solitude. That's the competition. Is your company better than being alone? Am I growing around you like I do when I'm alone? Do I feel safe? Is there joy? Is there peace?
Trying to see the image. For some reason, it's very hard to do this without a...
I mean, but that's not necessarily an incorrect attitude to have, right? Because I hate this idea of the, when you find someone that they complete you. No. Fuck that. You should be a complete person before you enter into any kind of relationship. Because if you're constantly looking for that something else somewhere, then you're never going to be satisfied. And then what happens if you find that person that completes you? And what if they die or they hate you when they break up with you? Then what are you? You're just a shell of a person? No. I think a lot of women, a lot of people would do very well to look inside themselves and just figure out just be happy with who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine. Next post.
Uh-oh.
Lies men tell. They also have amnesia about the recent part of history where men prevented women from gaining financial security on their own because they wanted women to be forced into marriages through survival. Okay, first of all, throughout most of human history, women have worked. They've also inherited. They have also had access to something called the domestic economy, which in many cultures is the primary economy. Okay? This is absolute self-indulgent myopia.
And these are the hottest posts. These are the hottest posts.
Yeah, these are the hottest posts.
Right?
Men will complain that we're only seen as a paycheck, but then do everything in their power to get out of contributing to their families in any other way because I pay the bills. Oh, no, they don't. What the hell is this? I mean, this isn't even statistically true. Men contribute child care and this is just
stereotyping.
It's astounding how incredibly popular this is. This is just condemning men based on a lie about their nature.
Right, exactly. And, of course, there's going to be men who, they might not be happy about doing these things. They might grunt and they might grunt their way through it, but they don't do it.
That's just it. These women have a stereotype of men. They think every guy is Archie Bunker. Yeah. I'm serious. Because, I don't know any guy who is like that.
They call men scroats.
Well, almost all the guys I know are married and have kids. Almost all the guys I know in my area, where I live, that I'm close to, they're almost all married with kids. One is married with cats. They don't have kids yet. But that's it. They're all married with kids. They all work or bring in income, and they all get up with the kids at night. They all take care of the kids. They all have specific mentoring they want to do with the kids that is different than what the moms do with the kids. So they want specific dad-kid time to engage in that mentoring. And they also have activities that they just really like doing with their kids. I get one guy likes to take his daughter to anime conventions and stuff because they're both really, really into that. And, the kid has engagement with mom too, but that's dad time. And, they do all kinds of stuff like that. The housekeeper in my DM's family, if I go gaming, I haven't actually gotten a game for a year because of COVID, which is really stressing. But he's the one that does all the housekeeping. He is the one who does all of the laundry. He's the one who does all the cooking. He's the one who does all the cleaning. She works overtime all the time. So like they've got a reversal. And I see this with the guys in my life. They take care of the kids when they're sick. They take care of the wife. In fact, he takes a lot of care of the wife because the wife has a chronic illness. And so he's a caregiver. He's like flat out like a direct support professional, except instead of intellectual disabilities, it's physical disabilities. And for them to say this kind of thing about men step up to whatever is needed of them in their lives. And I've watched that over and over again. Anytime that you find a man who doesn't do that, it's because of some level of immaturity that he is dealing with or experiencing, or a handicap that prevents him from doing it. Women used to also have that attitude. And there are women, you can find women who still have that attitude. But there are a lot of women who feel entitled to not do that. And then they get mad if men don't make up for what they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And then they write things like this.
Yep.
They call men scrotes. They say things scrotes say.
Good grief. Yeah, can you imagine things labias say?
Right.
Good grief. Things fallopians say.
Yeah.
Well, things cunts say would probably be.
Things cunts say would probably, yeah.
But then we have things dicks say and things pricks say.
Yeah.
But apparently that wasn't sufficiently dehumanizing. All right, so the first complaint is that men don't take care of their families. They only take care of them financially.
Which is taking care of them, but they do other things too.
And they don't want to be seen as just a paycheck, but then do everything in their power. So essentially the complaint here is that men don't want to be seen as a paycheck. Well, why don't they do other things that, why can't they be a resource in other ways? Like, they're complaining about being a resource? Well, they could also be a resource in these other ways. Why are they complaining about being a resource in this way when they could be a resource in that way for me?
Jeez.
It's so, there's no sense of any kind of, like, self-reflection. You've just said if men complain about being a resource, well, they could also be resources in this way as well. And if they don't want to complain about being a resource resource A, why don't they become resource B for me? It's like, no, they're complaining about being a resource or solely existing as a resource for you. Saying that they should be a resource in another way doesn't address the complaint, and in fact absolutely displays your incredible entitlement over this whole situation. And it's like, that's like 721 upvotes. What are these queens leveling up to be the most unlikable human beings on the planet?
Yeah,
exactly. They become a black hole of bitterness,
their own fucking ego.
Okay, go ahead.
Crazy. What I was gonna say is that and it's not even that some of these men don't like being the source of the resources, right? They just don't want to feel unappreciated.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus,
But essentially she's saying if you don't feel unappreciated for providing resource A, well, why don't you provide resource B?
Right.
And then you have a right to complain about being unappreciated for do you get what I'm trying to say? You get what I'm laying down here?
Yeah.
Like, it's as if a man said, women will complain that they're only seen as having an hourglass figure, having a perfect figure. They're only valued for having a perfect figure. Well, if women didn't only want to be valued for having a perfect figure, why didn't they make sandwiches too?
Right.
Everybody would be like,
How can you?
It's
Yeah.
because they don't want the original problem is that you're just framing them in terms of what you want from them, and you're only giving them worth in terms of what you want from them.
Exactly.
And that doesn't change when you say, well, they could give me this other thing that I want from them. And it's astounding that they would present that as some sort of condemnation of men.
Exactly. And you know, and this brings me back to the opener of the show, because, you know, this is something that really caught my attention too. There was a part where you were reading out where the woman says, "Oh, well, men feel like they're entitled to my attention."
Yeah.
Excuse me, but men don't get attention at all. Excuse me, they think that they're entitled to your attention. Let's look at the flip side. Nobody gives a fuck about men. Okay, and you're complaining because you get too much attention? Or you don't like the type of attention that you get? Okay, how about you be ignored for the rest of your fucking life, you whore?
Well, this is the thing.
Tell us what you really think,
These are the women that will complain because you didn't tell them they look pretty today in the correct manner. When you have gone the last month without hearing that you looked professional or nice or anything, and not understand why you don't get it, because
what is astounding to me,
they don't realize that you're not as solipsistic as they are.
Well, Lauren, you better do push to talk because you're echoing quite badly.
Okay.
You know what's freaking astounding to me is this forum calls men scrotes. Says to men, you know, if you don't like being a resource in this way, then just be a resource in that way, and that'll solve it. It's so solipsistic view, not even understanding the complaint because they're so frickin' entitled. They feel so entitled to men, and this is what this entire forum is. It's the entitlement to men, and 183,000 women in this forum, guys. 183,000 women. I think Honey Badger Radio has maybe 8 women in it. 8 women who are like, maybe we should appreciate men more and have a concern about their issues and advocate for them into when they have vulnerabilities and need assistance from society. Compared to 183,000 women who apparently enjoy saying things like what scrotes say and lies men tell, and apparently the lie that men tell is that they feel unappreciated. They feel like they're solely there for the resources, as resources for women. And the woman who's reading this says, well, then just be a different kind of resource for me.
I like that Carly Ellison just compared women to mosquitoes.
The thing is to say, so many
that is the
flags.
Best comment we've ever gotten from her. Mosquitoes are solipsistic too, but they are successful. Yeah, they're actually one of the deadliest creatures on the planet because they are highly successful at spreading fucking disease and death.
I was just gonna say, super spreaders.
Mosquitoes are nature's super. A mosquito almost killed me once. I had encephalitis when I was 12 years old. It's brain swelling.
Now.
Yeah.
What the heck is Carly's deal? Is she referring to this woman here? Because that's very accurate.
That's very accurate.
She probably isn't successful either.
I'm going to highlight one.
You know why these women want you to split the bill? Because they've never made a penny in their lives. Because they're sitting on they're in their parents' basement scratching their ass and getting a high.
And they define success as marrying a rich man.
Not
as becoming a fully actuated, actualized person that a man can identify with and who can identify with a successful man.
Okay, so here's one under their tag things scrotes say. So many red flags. Fess hole. So this is, I guess, a Twitter where people fess things. My fiancé, and this is from a man, my fiancé and I have been together for almost 10 years after what started as a casual office fling. She adores me, but I'm not sure I feel the same. I only asked her to marry me out of guilt as she left her husband to be with me. And they're saying so many red flags. I'm saying, get out, you poor schmuck. Like, what are the red flags here? The problem is he doesn't want to be there, but he feels guilty, and that is the worst reason to have it's not a red flag.
Look at the one
for
below
her.
it. Look at the one below it, because the one below it got a helpful award. Silly question. Anonymous asked, would it kill a woman to not assume that every single male is a sexual predator? And Punlich says, Yes, actually. It can literally kill us to not assume that men around us are sexual predators and take precautions accordingly. Bullshit.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. Are you victim blaming right now? Is that what she does? She's victim blaming.
Because it only takes one dangerous predatory guy to traumatize or even kill us, and there's a lot of them, and none of you wear signs.
Oh my God! So you mean that
they do. The ones who are predators actually do wear signs. You just don't know how to look for them. Exactly. And I know that because I had to learn how to look for them. And they're a tiny minority among people, and that is why they are hard to spot. And you can't assume that people who don't act like them are also predators without eliminating the very people who might help you keep yourself safe from the bad people.
Is she saying that women need to have situational awareness? Is that what we're talking about right now?
You know, actually, no. She's saying the opposite. She's saying women have a right to never have situational awareness because you can't tell the difference between people who have such boundary issues that they would actually not care about infringing and might harm you in order to get past your boundaries, and people who respect your boundaries.
Exactly. So then the impetus is on the male to then present himself as an unoffending person.
Yeah.
Just what?
By the way, I would like to point out that I am what feminists would label a poly victim, and I haven't been killed yet.
Okay. Can I point out that if they give a way for men to appear to be non-victims, then predators will camouflage them as that.
Exactly.
So, you know what, Punlich? The fact that you find men frightening is pathetic. You're a coward. Men are like the least frightening. There's a fucking bear trap outside my goddamn house. Think men are frightening? Fuck. You are a goddamn dirty, yellow-bellied, fish-smelling coward, Punlich.
I've actually touched a bear.
You've actually well, I don't want to touch. I don't want to.
It was not a wild bear though, and I from what I've learned since then, I probably wouldn't have, but I was 18 and stupid, so I've touched a bear. I technically. But you're right. I would definitely not want to have one of those things pissed off at me.
Men are not frightening. Sorry, guys. You guys are not frightening. You got too many, there are too many natural ways that women control men for them to be frightening. Women are frightening. Women are fucking terrifying.
Yeah, they are.
But nobody is as scary as mosquitoes.
And no one is as scary as mosquito. You're right. All right. So, going back to this, so many red flags. How is he giving off red flags? He wants out.
Right.
Yeah.
He just, okay, I want to see the comments here.
Let's see here. Let me find my...
Yikes! He realized that he's too old and decrepit. Better to lock on that mommy bang maid.
Why is my screen doing this? There we go. Sorry, guys. I'm operating without a...
man. My aunt left her husband for another man. He proposed 25 years later. Well, that sounds like it's after he retired. That actually sounds like just desserts for your aunt. Your aunt left her husband for another man, and the other man didn't propose to her for 25 years. Oh, well, karma. Karma's a bitch. This message here below it seems to be suggesting that the aunt was the injured party here. God, ugh. Every sentence came with a new sense of horror. What is the horror here? Maybe he didn't even know she was married to him. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah,
I'm dealing with the fact that I don't have a cursor.
Oh, okay.
And I can't.
I'll just read this stuff to you.
I can't open it. Reddit doesn't go to the comments when you click on the post. It goes to one comment.
These are astounding. Okay, so what is this bizarre pleasure I get from counting red flags? Fiancé of 10 years, casual affair, casual office fling where we could have lost our jobs and I could be accused of sexual harassment. She is an adulterer, but I also recognize that she's probably lonely and I pretended to be an out. Shoulder penis to cry on. I need a validation. Well, okay, so she's a human being. So what this particular bitter bitch is analyzed is that this guy's a human being. And probably he never intended this relationship to go on this long, but apparently he has a shit ton of Catholic guilt and can't shake the dingleberry from his asshole. I feel sorry for him. He probably should put his foot down and just kick her to the curb, but he's dug his hole now.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm curious about is how long into that 10 years did it take for her to leave the husband?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's got red flags, but not for the reasons that this person is thinking. It's not on his side. It's all on her side. And, either way, I see red flags. For me, number one, I'm not fucking anybody that I work with, so there's no casual office flings happening. So that's number one. Number two, okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. Sorry. I don't know.
Oh my god, there's a hilarious story about this woman who threw her sanitary napkin away at an acquaintance's house. And he got upset because he found it in his garbage. He's like, he didn't want to touch it. Okay. And then she's really upset and mortified, and she apologized profusely.
Like, if he's upset because he found it in his trash and he didn't want to touch it, that means that she didn't dispose of it properly.
Yeah.
She said that she wrapped it up and hid it, but he dug in the trash to find it.
Oh no!
What?
If he
no,
that's fake.
If he did that, that's just you don't want him as an acquaintance anymore anyway. But I just find that hilarious. For some reason, I just find the whole scenario to be hilarious.
Yeah, that's fake. I'm sorry, but no, guys, unless she has some really foul-smelling stuff there, that didn't shit that never happened, right?
Almost 200 comments I'm starting to get a sense of the personalities of the people on here. 200 comments for woman who's not very sanitary. And then this one. I don't even know how to describe this. Why are men the way they are? I dated a guy who refused to shower, and if I convinced him to shower, he wouldn't wear deodorant after because I just showered. Anyway, super smelly, wore a condom, but pulled out or pushed me away dramatically every time.
Why did she sleep with him if she thought he was super smelly?
Oh my God.
Was ultra-religious, so daily he guilted me about the awful sins we were committing, and also he lasted under 10 seconds, and I never orgasmed with him once.
Whoa. He was ultra-religious. He's ultra-religious, and he was guilty about what they were doing, but she had sex with him anyway. Reverse the sexes. That's a rape allegation right there. Reverse the sexes. Like the woman would come back and say, "This guy pressured me into sex. I'm super religious. I didn't think we should be doing this, and I kept saying, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, and he did it anyway. I was raped." Oh my God.
Actually, you're right. This does sound like it's like when I read it, I'm like, this guy sounds a little bit conflicted. Maybe you shouldn't be having sex with him.
Yeah, if he's guilt tripping her about it, then he's saying that's a no.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
That's a no signal.
Lasting under 10 seconds is probably faking orgasm to get her the hell away from. This is really bizarre. Like, this actually sounds like this woman might have been raping him. Because, yeah, you're right. Like, he's like, I don't think we should be doing this. I don't think we should be doing it. And he's pushing her away immediately after. Oh my God, I think this is her raping him. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Laugh.
I think we're going to have to end on that one because it's 9:30 and we got to get to the super chats. But holy shit. Like,
yeah, that's something she should have actually stopped and said, "Are you really into this? Because you seem to be really, really emotionally conflicted. You're pushing me away."
Yeah, that really actually
pushed me away. Okay, so he's saying, Okay, I can't. You're right.
We're
You're
gonna
absolutely right,
this
Anna.
is gonna be the one we discuss to the end, man, because that's just holy shit.
You're absolutely right. This is a holy shit moment. This is I think we're listening to the thoughts of a rapist moment. So this guy is pushing her away. He only lasts 10 seconds, and she's complaining about the fact he only lasts 10 seconds. And she's describing how he shouldn't be doing any of this. Well, how likely is it that he's only lasting 10 seconds because he wants you to go away? And he's probably not even lasting. He's just lying about it.
Yep.
Wore a condom. Okay.
Yeah. So we're basically, that's it. We're basically done. Oh, and as soon as I stop showing the window, my cursor shows up. So obviously, if I don't have OBS show my cursor,
Actually,
I don't get a cursor on my screen. Yeah, there's even worse. You know what? In a couple of weeks, we might have to come back and do this. I have something, I think, for next week already.
These are horrible human beings on this subreddit. Like, they're just... Like, this is 183 of some of the most like, listen to this one. This is just below the one I just read.
Okay.
Just the other day, invited a guy over to get laid and slapped around a bit. Guy wasn't on top of me longer than 1 minute 13 seconds. Jeez, did she time him? Before he fractured my eye socket and broke my nose and almost strangled me to death. You specifically brought a man home to fuck you and slap you. What is... Oh, God.
Holy shit. I'm going to end on a poem. There is a female dating strategy.com website. The first two posts I saw on the female dating strategy.com website are why low value men gravitate to BDSM dom culture. And the second one is the first straws learning from past abuse. So I scrolled down, I'm going through these, and at the bottom there are new from forum, and one of them is cisgender heterosexual men are obsolete, a poem. So here we go. Cisgender heterosexual men are obsolete, a poem. The charm of the snake was his character. The choice to be fake makes a bad actor. That's supposed to rhyme, I think. I'm not sure. The chance of good luck. The chaos factor. The circle of fuck needs a protector. To angle the hands of the... I'm not going to be able to do this.
What the hell are we reading?
To angle the hands of the Chronos clock. To hell with the fingers around the cock. The chicken head. She's been around the block. So the angel Madonna can don the socks.
What the hell are we reading?
Separating her feet from the ground, this transitional space can be found on the back of the horse. There's a saddle. To the side of the rowboat, a paddle. Somebody was high when they fucking wrote this. All our tools are the product of techno until puppeteer strings can let go. As Pinocchio signals our rebirth, the potential for heaven on this earth. The master and his slave are a duo. Oh, God.
I need some context.
Neither one of us has a clue of what you know. This is a poem written by a user of the FDS Female Dating Strategy website forum called Cisgender Heterosexual Men Are Obsolete, a poem. She goes on. Holy shit, this goes on. Holy shit, this poem goes on forever! Jesus.
No, we're not reading the whole thing, Anna.
Oh my God! I didn't realize it would be so long. So this is the mentality that we are working with. Super
like, once again, 183 women.
I don't know.
Eat this shit up and ask for seconds. 8 women on a small podcast. Actually, maybe we should feel some gratitude and care about men.
But Allison,
8 fucking women.
Remember, 2 people are a duo, and that's poetic.
Oh, for the love of God, Jesus, make it stop.
And clever too. It's clever to call two people a duo.
This is it. This is what we can say about women. They are much more attracted to this. This woman who says, I basically got a man to fucking slap me, and he went overboard apparently. Which, okay, why would you be bringing home a guy to do that in the first place? But be that as it may, apparently your fetish scene came out of, and then one woman who is having sex with a man who obviously doesn't want to have sex with her. And then the whole bunch of comments were like, oh, this thread about women's worst sexual experiences and how most of men's worst sexual experiences were women starfishing. And it's like, no, actually, men's worst sexual experiences are being raped by women and then being forced to pay child support for the resultant rape babies.
Yeah.
There's no woman's experience that even fucking compares. But having said that, this is betraying, and the worst ones were, she said, she screenshotted the worst experiences of these women having sex. And I'm like, these two are the worst. A woman who actively sought out a man to slap her and fuck her, and found out that I guess his right hand was a little bit too strong. His pimp hand was a little too strong for her face. And some woman who may have raped a guy. And that's the worst women's experiences. Okay.
Yeah. So...
I mean, I guess it's pretty shocking when you're going for a guy and you're just like, yeah, I just want a bit of... I want you to slap me enough so that my nose bleeds, but not so much that it's broken. Can you manage that? They're like, oh shit, I think I went a little too hard there, lady. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Super
chat.
Who are these people? Who are these people? Like, what?
They might be a little bit broken already. They might be a little bit disturbed.
Yeah, they shouldn't
they
be
might
in
they might have some
relationships.
problems here. They might need to work on
Yes,
themselves
you
a
know
little
what,
bit before
ladies?
they date.
You can enjoy your solitude. You should have you should be in solitude till the moment God reclaims you.
Yeah.
Just solitude till you're shot in the dark hole, and that's the end of you. I think that's excellent, and you should consider that to be sticking it to the man. You should consider living your life completely alone, and don't get cats, because I don't think you can be trusted with them. All 183,000 of you, you should all consider living your lives completely alone in some kind of sensory deprivation tank, maybe with a feeding tube and something up your ass. Just leave just go, and we can float you out on a barge in the middle of the ocean.
There you go.
You can be alone for the rest of eternity, and I think the world will be better off. And you can think that you're sticking it to someone.
So I'm hoping.
So these, Hannah, these are not so much people that we are working with. They're more people that we are pointing and laughing at.
Yeah.
And very oftentimes recoiling in terror.
Yeah.
I just can't believe it's like, I'm going to go find myself a man who's going to slap me.
Yeah.
Eventually that might go a little bit further than you expect, but okay. I guess it goes back to not knowing red flags or boundaries.
It just really blows my mind that, feminists spent the last 10 to 12 years criticizing male subreddits for having that kind of complaints and posts and women behaving badly posts and stuff like that in the subreddits. Not as bad as that, right? But just women behaving badly posts, complaints, memes, jokes, sexist humor and stuff like that in the subreddit, right? But in the female dating strategy subreddit, it is not just in the subreddit, it is the hottest posts. It's the posts that have the most engagement in the subreddit, the most upvoted and things like that. That just, okay. Super chats. And I hope I've been able to keep track of them all between the chat and the Streamlabs, which has not tracked anything after 21 minutes ago for some reason. And I know we've had some since then, but an hour ago, we have Darth Sonic gave us $10 and said the formalized dating system of the modern world is such a disaster of a courting system. Most of the couples that survive long-term I know either met organically, online, or at hobbyist events. That can include me, because I met my husband playing Dungeons and Dragons. Then he goes on, he gave us another $10 and said, or met during a sexual fling where both parties decided they actually kind of liked this and decided to keep doing it, almost never from the sort of dating culture being discussed here. And then he gave us $5 and said, unofficial part 3, really not just this kind of dating culture, contemporary mainstream dating culture in general. And yeah, we unfortunately have this system of dating now, which is a holdover from the old gynocentric, chivalric, guy courts the woman and the woman consents to be with him culture that was partly... It revolved around the fact that women were the responsibility of the men around them to the degree that she would be supported her entire life by either her father or the man she married. And if she didn't get married, it would be her father or her brothers. She never really supported herself unless she was a very rare woman. And now you don't have that. You got careers. You can do whatever you want. You can support yourself. You can live on your own. You don't have to be, and you're not an old maid, right? You're not listed as you're not thought of as an old maid. You're thought of as a woman who has her own goals and her own purposes and decided not to get married. And there are many, many women who are actually choosing to do this and have babies, often through trickery, by getting a guy in bed and engaging in birth control sabotage, or using even artificial means of conception, like insemination and stuff like that, and it's been done. So it's really stupid to say that under that circumstance we're going to continue to go with the old chivalric man has to court the woman dating system. If women are supposed to be, on an even playing field elsewise, then why are they not courting each other? But let's see. Then we go on. Darth gave us most of our super chats, I think. Gave us another $5 and says, "Mein Führer Allison, is it time to open the sex slave camps to gather the womens?" No, you have to stay away from the womens because the womens are dangerous. You can only date women. No women.
Don't poke the women's, they blow up.
Yeah, the women's will do significant damage. So now I'm gonna from that one I'm gonna actually have to be scrolling here.
I think he's just mocking me going full black misogyny pilled.
Yeah. This
female
dating strategy has black pilled Allison.
Yeah, what am I supposed to feel? Like 183,000 women.
I know. That's just
and
creepy.
You read the comments, and they're stupid. They're solipsistic. I can't believe that these women can actually be alone, because I can't imagine spending any amount of time with people or a person who is so dumb and narcissistic. But I guess they enjoy their own company. I don't think they do personally, considering what they're...
I bet they don't enjoy each other's company. If they do, I don't know. I wouldn't enjoy their company. That would be...
So 183,000 women who get behind this content and enjoy it and are leveling up as some of the most bitter, entitled... Like, to complain about men's entitlement, as you're saying, well, why... Men complain about being a resource? And, well, if they wanted to... If they had any basis for complaining about being a resource, why wouldn't they be a different resource for me?
Right.
But they complain about being seen as a recycling. Like, how do you fit so much fuck in your tiny pin skull?
Yeah.
And I have to not look at this and be like, okay, so this is what more women support than will ever support. Actually, having compassion for men and recognizing what they do for women.
Yeah, and it's what the craziest thing to me is that just reading through what we did so far, it just... I get the feeling that all it is them trying to one-up each other on how shitty they can blame men for being.
It's campfire tales for women.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like porn. It's like some kind of rage porn. Oh my god, look at what this guy... Oh my god.
Yeah, feminist creepypasta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sick.
Actually, we had a comment here that I really liked, and it went by really fast. There we go. The legendary Jew, Joo, says, "They sound like incels."
Lauren, you're echoing. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, they sound like
they sound to us like incels sound to them. probably.
Yeah, but also you got to think the incels that are totally and utterly supported by the status quo.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit more threatening than incels.
Well, and incels actually have a reason to sound like that because women, a large majority of women treat a large majority of men who are at the bottom of the social ladder, the bottom not meaning on the bottom rung because there's like 2 levels below the bottom rung of the social ladder. Men who are in the basement underneath the social ladder, the large majority of women treat those men worse than shit. Like they would do worse than scrape you off of the bottom of their shoe. And I know this because those were some of my friends when I was in school. Right? And I'm still friends with men who are in that social status. And they do get treated like that. And all they have to do is be in the same line at a cash register with a woman who has that kind of an attitude toward men that she thinks are beneath them. And they will get signals from her. They will get, the turn around, look down the nose or over the glasses, you're standing too close to me look, when they're 10 feet away, and it's just like, so yeah, that's very fitting. Men who are in that situation do have some very harsh things to say about women because they are making observations of the way women have treated them, and those observations can't be sugarcoated. Like, you could try to sugarcoat them, but you really can't. And of course, when women go into those forums and they read those observations, misogyny, these men are dangerous, they're gonna rape us all, But they'll have their own forum, and they don't have that same problem with men, but they'll talk about men that way anyway. So, then we have Avahine. Oh, it's Avahine. There's no N in there. Avahine gave us $5 and said she hates being judged by her tits, so she should try and work on her arse. I like that one. And now I'm scrolling for more because there are more, or at least I thought there were more, but they're not showing in Streamlabs. I just want to make doubly sure.
That last one was a good one. I like that.
I know. I like that too. But I'm not seeing more, so maybe I'm wrong. It looks like I got them all. So, there we go. I think that's a good note to end it on. She hates being judged by her tits, so she should try and work on her arse. So, with that, boy, did we have a spicy sausage tonight. So,
it was indeed.
We'd like to thank all of our listeners for stomaching this incredibly spicy sausage. And to my 2 co-hosts for helping to season the sausage.
It's going to burn on the way out later, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, there we go. Hell, that burned on the way in. We'd like to thank our female dating strategy for the hellacious material. And whoever wrote that poem, oh my god, I guess for being such a dumb fuck. And to everyone who works in the background to make HBR Talk happen, thank you very much. And good night, all.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.